Okay. Here we go. This is the first one. This is the first time I'm going to try and attempt to do a video like this. I'm gassed because I actually figured out how to do this stuff. Kind of. Hopefully it works. This could be a train wreck, but we'll see. But first of all, let's crack this can together. I'm drinking Arizona iced tea, by the way. Please sponsor me. I would love that. Okay, so today we're going to record my cover of End of Beginning by Joe. My friend at work put me onto this. Shout out Reese if you're watching. I had never heard this song before. I don't know how, because it's played on the radio all the time. Not a Stranger Things fan, so that's probably why I haven't heard about it properly. But listen to it, couldn't get it out of my head, and then realised it's absolutely popping off right now. So we're going to give it a go. We're going to try and turn End of Beginning by Joe into a pop punk anthem. Hopefully it works, and then you get to see a little bit of the process. If you watch this video now, the cover is probably already out, so if you haven't already, go check out the cover. Leave a comment on the cover saying that you came from the how-to video, the making of. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this yet, but yeah, let me know that you came over to that cover from this video, and I don't know, maybe you'll get some extra points. I don't know, dude. I'm trying my best here. Okay, so I've got my guitar here. I've got an empty Logic session, as you can probably see. All I've done in this session is added the track and the acapella. Logic's got this really cool thing where you can obviously separate the tracks, so you can separate the bass out of the tracks, the vocals out of the tracks. What I usually do is I put the track in, time it all up, and then stem split the vocals out. And then I just try and write along to the vocals, so I'm not too influenced by the original. I would highly recommend, if you are doing covers and you're using Logic, I'm not sure if any other DAWs do it, but highly recommend doing that, so then you're not like kind of tied to the original a little bit. You can kind of float some creativity as long as you're using the right chords. That's what I usually do. I might find it hard to try and edit around this video because I'm going to have to listen to the original, but I don't want the video to get copyright striked, even though all my covers do get copyright striked. But yeah, I'm going to try and get this video to not have a copyright strike, so I'm going to be very careful where I'm playing stuff, but just know I'm referencing the track as we go in here. All right, so all I'm going to do is listen through, and then I'm going to figure out where my parts need to be. Also, I've got the chords up. This is what I usually do, go on Ultimate Guitar. The people that do this and write all these chords down and stuff, you were sent from God. I'm sure of it. So yeah, what I usually do, I'll pull up the chords, I will have a listen through, I'll see how I can play them, see if any like timing changes need to happen or tempo changes, or where I can double time stuff and half time stuff. In the case of this song, it's quite slow. I'm feeling like quite a pop punky, anthemy, don't know, stadium-y chorus. I have been singing this chorus for the last week, all because of my friend at work. So thanks for that, brother. Okay, so what I would usually do is I would start with the chorus, because that's where your hook is. And if I can't make the chorus sound good, then the rest of the song's probably got not much chance. First of all, for drums, I'm going to punch these in. If anyone's interested, I'm using the new downbeat kit from GGD. I love GGD. I've been using them for years. Downloaded Modern and Massive. Actually, I downloaded the Matt Halpern pack, if anyone remembers that. And then I downloaded Modern and Massive 1. Been using it for years. Modern and Massive 2 came out. Amazing. And then they came out with this. And I was like, this is sick. Like, it's not just a metal kit. You know, it's pretty good for pop punk stuff as well. This snare, that is the craziest snare I've ever heard in my life. Also, the overheads in this thing, crazy. Okay, we're on this bar here. We're going to go... We're not going to program that at 127 because that's mental. But we are going to program the snare at 127 because... lol. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep the same beat for 4 bars. Join those together. And then when I'm playing drums, like in my band, I am crashing on the ride cymbal a lot. And this drum library has a great crashable ride. So I'm using that. Usually I'd use a right crash for choruses to like really fucking hammer home on, but we're using a crash ride. And it's also Craig Reynolds' signature ride that they've sampled, so you'd be mental not to use that if you got this drum library. So we'll open it up with a couple of crashes. 127 again, because impact. Probably bring that down to like 125, and we'll keep it at like 122 here. Okay, so next I'm going to just duplicate this drum beat, add that in there. So here, I'm going to do a little break. I like doing this in choruses because it adds a bit more impact. You'll see what I mean in a second. So coming up here now is a bit of a dynamic change. That's what we're doing for the chorus drums. Super simple. This is not a great example of a song that I'm going to do crazy drums in. I just want it to feel massive. Like, I just want it to feel huge. Bass. I do not have a bass that sounds good recording right now. The bass I have and that I use in my videos is purely performance, just so it's a bit of an interesting angle for the video. I do MIDI bass. I know, frown at me all you want, producers out there, but it works, and I don't have a bass that is good enough for recording. So this is what we're doing. If someone who is mad about that wants to send me a bass, I'll happily use it. Okay, so we're on a G. That's not a G, that's an F. Damn it. That goes to a B, I think. And then down to the A. And then obviously we've got the break here. So we need to delete that. Okay, so I've just listened, and this whole thing is just a G, I guess. So we'll put some movement in that afterwards. So now we've got this for now. All right, let's layer some rhythm guitars in. I messed up. That's the whole chorus right there. So tips for any new producers out there that don't know this. Probably a lot of people do, but I'm going to say it anyway. Always double track rhythm guitars, or most guitars. I don't know why I said that. Most guitars, because it just sounds thicker, makes the sound bigger. And yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to say. Let's double track these guitars. Keeping that there for now. Quantize that to eighth notes, because I am terrible at playing in time. As a drummer, you'd think I'd be pretty decent, but I'm not. Always cut just before the start of the bar to get a better impact. Yeah, let's figure out some leads. So I know that I'm going to put a drone in D octave in there, because that's the key of the song. The key of the song's in D major. So if I drone an octave out, a D octave, it'll sound really thick. I'm going to track that in now. I just whacked my guitar off my desk. I'm going to track that in now. Quantize. Double track. Okay, we should be pretty dialed in. We just take a little sip. Dude, Arizona iced tea is so good. So good. If anyone's interested, I'm drinking the peach iced tea flavor. You probably couldn't even see that, but I showed you anyway because I'm kind. All right, so far, this is what we've got for the chorus. Sure. So it sounds pretty good, right? I'm going to cut this here because there was some noise. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to figure out an actual octave to go over the top of this. Something that just provides like a little bit of movement. It's very basic at the moment, this chorus. So instead of it just being, you know, all that all the way through, it just adds something that flutters a little bit and gives a bit of movement to the chorus, like I just said. I don't know why I'm repeating myself here. I don't know what to do. If anyone's interested as well, I'm using Tone Hub. I'm basically using the John Feldman preset on Tone Hub, but I've dialed in a couple of different things, rolled off the gain quite substantially because it was a bit crazy. Yeah, and just added some EQs and stuff. If you want the preset for the tone on Tone Hub, if you're a producer or a songwriter and you do use Tone Hub, it'll be available on my Patreon. I have a Patreon where it's just £2 a month to support me and my channel and the music I make and all that kind of stuff. If you're on the Patreon, just drop me a DM. You'll get an invite to a Discord. So on Discord, just drop me a DM on there or put it in the Discord server and I'll just send you the preset and you can use it in whatever you want to use it in. You don't have to, but the offer's there if you want to. Also, if you're liking the video so far, drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, because it really helps me out and I'm trying to quit my job. So that would really help. Oh my God, I messed up. What a surprise. Nope, I'm dehydrated. Like that's going to hydrate me. It's in tea. Let's try just a normal lead part and just see what we can get. Where even was that? That's nice. That backed up on a synth would sound unreal. Oh, my hand was cramping like crazy then. Let's see, drag this down to my lead guitar track. By the way, I am writing this cover on an already mixed songwriting template. If you are interested in how I mix stuff, you can always join the Patreon. Again, I know I've already mentioned it in this video, but when you get access to the Discord, you can ask me whatever you want. I'll send you little clips of stuff. I'll give you tips if you want. Just of stuff I've learned over the years. And he's supporting a musician who's just sat in his second bedroom writing covers. I guess the thing in pop punk is everyone kind of wants like double time stuff and faster stuff, but for me, ballady feels the ones, man. Like, I would so much rather do something a little slower with a bit more emotion, because in vocals I can stack harmonies, I can sing it with a bit more aggression. Don't know if you've noticed, if you've been a part of this channel for a while, or if you've just stumbled across it and you've checked out a few covers, the songs that are the most sort of emotional ones, like Wish You the Best by Lewis Capaldi, Love the Hell Out of You by Lewis Capaldi, a bunch of Lewis Capaldi songs, Run by Snow Patrol, a bunch of covers that I've done. I'd rather do the ballady ones and the emotional ones because it just gives me a little bit more room to kind of flex my vocal stuff and sing a bit more aggression. I'm going to try and do that with this song. I feel like my voice suits that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out, but I might pick it up in double time in the last chorus. I might not, but we'll see. Okay, let's add some synths in here. So first of all, I've got a bass synth that's just going to rumble underneath the bass, providing a bit more low end to the mix. Okay, so that's in there. I'm also going to add, I have like this distorted organ synth It's basically just, so I'm using Anna 2. I'll show you the settings because it's literally, I'm just using a preset, smooth organ, and with Decapitator, I am just punishing the hell out of it. I've used this preset and just kind of tweaked it a little bit to my liking. It's basically there to kind of fill out some space and create more of a wall of sound with the guitars rather than be its own instrument. I'll show you what that sounds like. And then with the guitars, it sounds like this. So you can kind of tell a little bit what the organ's doing, but it's literally just adding some depth to those rhythm guitars, man. Yeah, not sure about that. I've got Decapitator on this as well with the same kind of preset doing a similar thing, but I'm going to do this in a higher register. Got a keyboard here that I'm keyboarding on. I might find a new synth sound for this. Yeah, let's have a look for a different one. I'm just going to take Decapitator off while I'm looking. Oh, that's nice. That's super nice. Oh, I kind of dig the distortion on that, you know? Just a little bit. Kind of like it. Okay, now for my favorite bit. I've got a folder here called Ear Candy. It has a sub drop, an impact, and a riser on there. I'm going to throw all of that into this chorus. Usually what I'll do is usually time it up to the bar, but that one's fine. Do it with that one. Sub drop can stay as it is. And then I will come in here with this riser. I'll probably reverse it or unreverse it, I guess, in this case. And then you get this. You get the idea. So then with everything added in, you get this. So on this last chorus, there is a dropout section. What I usually do for those is I would probably mute the rhythms, kind of mute the drums also, and the bass. So I'm kind of muting the entire rhythm section here, and then bring the drop in where everything flies back in. Okay, so next I'm going to leave the verses for now because that's probably going to be the most challenging thing. Even though they are very easy to play on guitar, it's going to be the hardest thing to make pop punk and interesting. So I'm going to leave that till last and I'm going to do the bridge. Let's just quickly look what the chords actually are for the bridge. So listening back to the actual track, the guitars are kind of on an off beat in the bridge. So even though it's only 2 chords, they kind of play in a more interesting pattern. Okay, so it's a little bit more interesting. So let's get some drums in for this. So I'm going to close the hi-hat there and just add a snare, wham. And I'm gonna cut all the audio there as well. Oh, that's nice. Throw a couple of other cymbals in there. Oh yeah, why not, man? In this little part, I'm just going to try and add some palm mutes in here. Or just some scratches like... Then that'll sound more percussive and a little bit nicer, hopefully. Let's see. Just adds a little bit more depth to it. So let's listen to what we've got with all that stuff added in. Okay, so it sounds pretty good. With this bit in the middle, in the original song, there's a drop out there. Everything drops out apart from drums and vocals. I'm not going to keep drums in there because the drums I'm using are quite hard hitting, and this is just a really nice, like, mellow bit where it's just more intimate, drums and vocals. So instead of doing drums and vocals, I'm going to add this little guitar down here, this thing. And what I'm going to do to that is something I do in most of my covers, and it basically adds that layer of extra production that I want on either a dropout part or just over a verse, a nice guitar part over a verse or whatever it is. So I'll demonstrate what I mean. So this is the guitar just with an amp sim and some compression on there. So that's quite boring just on its own. And especially for a dropout layer, you don't really want like a raw guitar sound, at least I don't there. So I add these two things. If you use Logic, you should definitely be taking advantage of this plugin. It's called Fat Effects. It's so sick. I use it on guitars. I use it on lead guitars, effect guitars all the time. It's got a modulator. It's got some bandpass EQs, some distortion, bass enhancers, compressors, LFOs, basically a bunch of stuff that you want in there to affect an audio file. Let's turn this on. I add this thing on top of the guitar. This is without. So it's just pulling it back a little bit and adding a little bit of effect on there so it's not as in your face. Feel free to steal this preset and try it on your own lead guitars. It works like a charm and it really does cut through a mix as well. I'm using it on my main lead guitar channel on this that we use in the chorus. It's just cutting through nicely. It doesn't need to be too loud. This is what it sounds like with a flanger on there. So when everything drops out and things come back in again, it sounds like something's dropped out and something's been added on rather than just having a massive guitar in the middle. You see what I mean? Feel free to steal that trick. It's not something I learned off anyone. I kind of just found Fat Effects on a Logic update one day and then used it on some lead guitars and they're kind of stuck ever since. So it's getting pretty late now, so I'm going to call it here. We've got a chorus and a bridge done. I'm going to come back tomorrow and do verse 1 and 2 and the intro and figure all that stuff out. And then we'll move on to vocals. All right. Day 2. So let's dive into the verse. I actually started the verse a little bit before I started recording this. So the original starts with a drum beat. I wanted to kind of honor that in this cover. With the original song, the drums kind of stay the same tempo, same feel all the way through pretty much. So I thought because we've stuck with it in the chorus, I'm going to double time the drums and make the verses the thing that's faster. and then keep the chorus and bridge to that nice 4 on the floor drum beat style. Okay, so I'll show you what I got for the verse. So this bit here, obviously, so that's pretty straightforward, just palm muted guitars, a nice drum beat. This bit here is where it kind of changes to like a little pre-chorusy style thing. So here I need some drums to bring me into this pre-chorus. So I'm thinking we slow the drum beat back down. It's going to So there's the main synth that goes da-na-na. Okay, I figured out that I was getting it wrong. It's actually this. That's what the synth is. So that's my bad. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to throw this on a different track, but I'm going to put some reverb on there. So we're going to pull up Chroma Verb, and then we can see what we can find. If you're using Logic, Chroma Verb is a great reverb to use. It's nice and colourful. It adds a lot of depth, adds a lot of character, and the UI is really pretty. You ready? There you go. So I'm going to use this piano verb that I've got. This is a preset that I've made. Feel free to copy the settings here. And then I'm just going to roll off some stuff on an EQ. I don't need a fancy EQ for this. Usually I'd use Pro Q4, but to save a little bit of CPU, let's just use this because I already know what I'm going to do. Roll off that. Roll off a bit of high end. That's basically what I'm going to do for the reverb. Just cut some lows, cut the super highs, and then just blend that in. Okay, so in this next bit, we've got a part that basically just goes ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. Pretty much, I'm happy with that as a first verse. Let's give it a listen and see what we think. Sounds pretty good to me. There might be some stuff that I add later on, but it'll only be minor things. It might be an octave here and there. But yeah, let's move on to the second verse. That's nice. Usually I'm kind of just committing to stuff and then just tracking it in. And if it works, it works. I'll listen back. If it doesn't, I'll change stuff up. I'm kind of working pretty quick on some of this stuff. Something like that. there's one last thing I want to add into the chorus, and it's another layer of octaves. Cool. This should sound pretty massive now. I'm super happy with that chorus. So there you go. That's kind of how I would do an instrumental. Hopefully I've made it interesting for you. I'm going to take this out, put it into a vocal session, and then track vocals, and I'll come back and I'll show you a little bit of the vocal session, what I've done, what harmonies I've done, why I did it. Yeah, I'll see you in the vocal session. Okay, so I just got done tracking vocals for this cover. It's sounding pretty good. I'm really happy with the vocals, especially at the end. If you've already watched the cover, you'll know that the vocals go a bit mental at the end, and I was really hoping to add something like that in this song. I'm going to show you here. This is basically my vocal tracking template. I never track vocals in the same session that I'm mixing and writing in, because it just gets a bit messy and latency happens when I'm recording and all that stuff. So I would recommend, if you've got a slower MacBook, my MacBook's pretty good. It's not too slow, but it is an M1 chip. So it's not the fastest, it's also not the slowest, but for me, I get a lot less latency. In fact, I get no latency if I just run it through its own session. So if you're experiencing latency in a writing session, you're trying to write vocals and record vocals in the session that you write in, guitars and bass and whatever your instrumental's in, take it out of that, put it in its own session. It works so much better. And then you can just have a session that's focused primarily on vocals, and you don't have to worry about anything else. You're not tweaking mixes while you're going. You can literally just track all the vocals, and then I bounce this out and put it in my session that we were just in, doing guitars in, and then I give it all a little mix. So I'm just going to be super quick showing you what I've done here. It's nothing too crazy apart from the end. The end is pretty intense vocally. But yeah, so usually I'll set up the session. I'll have my instrumental that I've just tracked in here, and then I'll have the original vocal underneath it, just in case I need to reference it for anything, or harmonies or whatever it might be. And then I split my tracks up into lead vox 1, 2, and 3. This stays the same, by the way, for every vocal tracking session, unless I need to add like a gang vocal or something. Pretty much stays the same. Vocal 1, 2, and 3, because in case of overlaps or different change of pace, or just so I can separate things out. A lead vocal double, stereo. If I'm doubling vocals, I'm doing it in stereo, left and right. I'm very rarely doing a mono double. Always tripling the vocal if I am going for that effect. I'm never just doubling it. It's always a triple, left, right, and then the lead vocal in the middle. And then I go for an ad-lib track, which is, if you've watched my covers before and you know of them and you've like familiar with all the stuff that I do, you know that I like to add ad-lib vocals in the last choruses or in bridges sometimes, just to make it a little bit more interesting. In this song, it actually does have ad-libs written. The goodbye line at the end of the chorus, that's what I've used in my ad-lib, but I've sang it a little bit different. And then I've got harmony vocal 1, which is just usually the higher harmony, but in this I've changed it to the low one, because that's kind of the primary harmony in this. And then harmony 2, which is whatever other harmony I decide to put in there. Octave vocals, which I've not recorded for this, but I've just kept the tracks in there anyway. And then a backing vocal. That will basically stay the same for every vocal tracking that I do. All right, so let's have a listen.
Just one more tear to cry, one teardrop from my eye. You better save it for the middle of the night, when things aren't black and white. Enter troubadour,
So the first verse, I'm not doing anything amazing or crazy. I'm not doubling things. I'll add a harmony if I feel like it needs it. In this, I didn't feel like it needed any backing vocals or harmonies or extra vocals. And then for the chorus, I'll go a bit crazy. I'll add doubles, I'll add harmonies, sometimes 2 harmonies if I think it needs it. But I'm just going to solo out the chorus just so you can see how much width it gives when you add all these vocal layers in.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. I wave goodbye to the end of beginning.
It's just massive. When I throw that in the mix, it's just going to sound huge. Gives a bit more emotion to the song. And then I've just gone in, done the second verse, copied the chorus pretty much exactly the same, except with this ad-lib underneath it.
Bye to the end of beginning. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
And then bridge is super simple. Just doubled it all the way through. No harmonies, no fancy stuff going on in there. It's just a normal bridge, lead vocals, and something to back it up so it sounds a bit thicker in the mix. This is where it starts to get a little bit crazy though. So I followed what the original song does vocally here, and it drops it all down, sings it a bit softer, and then it all builds back up. And I've kind of just exaggerated that a little bit. I'll play it with the track for you.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. Oh, I'll wave goodbye to the end of beginning. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
So yeah, solo these vocals out just so you can hear this harmony down here is not perfect. It's just taken from the other chorus, but it sounded cool with it being sang in a different way. It's not perfectly timed, but it sounds nice as a layer. So when I mix that, I'll probably drop it down a little bit in the mix so you can more feel it rather than hear it.
And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Another version of me, I was in it. Oh, I'll wave goodbye to the end of beginning. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
Obviously, I'm at the height of my range there. But I thought it sounded cool to go up. It starts off in the lower octave, it builds up to the primary octave, and then I'm going up even more at the end, just to give it some more energy right at the end and make it a bit more interesting vocally. So that's it. That's basically how I made my End of Beginning cover by Joe. Super fun song to do. I really enjoyed doing this one. Vocals were super fun to do. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed following along the process. If you did enjoy it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I do have a Patreon where you can go over there and just for £2 a month, just support the channel, support what I'm doing if you like it. You don't have to, but it's there if you want to. You'll also get your name at the end of each cover that I do, and I've got a little Discord going as well, so if you want access to that, that's what you get with the Patreon. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you haven't already, please go check out the cover. I'll link it in the description for you, but it's also on my channel. And go follow my socials as well if you want to. And if you enjoyed this, please let me know. I'll do a couple more of these. I quite enjoyed doing these. The edit is going to take me a while, so hopefully I get it up quickly after the cover goes out. But we'll see. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.